Hi, this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see an introduction to literary modernism. Literary modernism originated somewhere around late 19th and 20th century, and it was mainly focused in Europe and North America. And the main characteristic of this literary movement is it broke away from the traditional way of writing, and it was found in all poetry, prose fiction and drama. And it also included literary and artistic movements. And this includes imagism, symbolism, futurism, cubism, surrealism, dadaism and expressionism. And how the literary modernism originated is, it started somewhere around in the late 1880s when all the writers, thinkers and artists, they started thinking about how the preconceived norms were still followed, and they started pushing it away, and they started devising a new way of considering one's own reality. And the main people among them were Sigmund Freud and Ernest Mach, and they started influencing this modernist movement. And both of them thought that human beings' subjective experience in this world should drive, and their desires will influence the way they saw the outside world. And Friedrich Nietzsche, he wrote about the greater importance of the psychological drives and mental considerations over the facts or physical things. So he gave more importance to psychology and mental considerations. And this literary modernism can be divided into three movements, which is imagism, surrealism and expressionism. And what is imagism is, in the early 1900s, Ezra Pound, he gave the literary modernism its start in the 20th century, and his writings and also the writings of his contemporaries, they gave precise images, and they started using free verse. Example of this is The Return by Ezra Pound, In a Station of the Metro by Ezra Pound, Helen by H.D. and A Lady by Amy Lowell. And what is surrealism is, it is a philosophy that took hold in France in 1920s, particularly in the works of the French poets. And they felt that the dreams which they had is more important than reason and logic, and they gave more consideration to the subconscious and the willing to come forward into their works. And they use the techniques such as automatic writing, and whatever came in their mind, they just started pouring into the poems. Particularly the poems of the surrealist French writers are A Former Life by Charles Baudelaire, Historic Evening by Arthur Rimbaud and Zone by Guillaume Apollinaire. And what is expressionism is, these writers who used expressionism is, they embodied the meaning rather than the reality, and they were driven by the emotion and the experience to paint, write and think about how the world is perceived. And the works of Friedrich Nietzsche are closely related to this part of the modernist movement, and his novel Thus Spoke Zarathustra is the best example. And other examples for this are Acectosa of Apollo by Rainer Maria Rilke, I Am Much Too Alone in This World, Yet Not Alone Enough by Rainer Maria Rilke, and Rhapsody on a Windy Night by T.S. Eliot, and Whispers of Immortality by T.S. Eliot. And the main themes of this literary modernism is, it was a reaction against the traditional writing practices, the industrialism, and eventually they had this World War I. And a wide variety of themes can be found in the works of the modern writers, which includes destruction, fragmentation and loss. And writers such as T.S. Eliot and William Faulkner are considered with the rearrangement of culture and its eventual fragmentation. Now, fragmentation is a way which played important role as a style of writing, and they put back together again in the different ways. That is, they will break it into small pieces and again rearrange it and bring it in the same way. And destruction is one of the strongest themes in the literary modernism, because these writers all lived through the World War I, and they saw the destruction and the worst things which happened to humankind. And writers brought this destruction, what they saw in their lives, in their writing. And all the syntax and structures, they transferred through new modes of writing. And when there is destruction, definitely there will be loss. And this loss is evident in the writings of Ernest Hemingway, and in most of the stories and poems showed the experience, devastation which the writers saw in this world. And loss means there was also loss of life, which means death. And along with it doesn't mean that one's life alone meant loss. Even the belief which they had, that also was considered as a loss. And in the world of art, literature, music, architecture, and even in politics, people started questioning about everything which was previously taken for granted. And many institutions, educational, government and religious were overthrown by leading the feelings of loss, displacement, and sometimes even exile. And very important writers of this modernist movement are Samuel Beckett, James Joyce, Joseph Conrad, T.S. Eliot, William Faulkner, John Steinbeck, E.E. Cummings, Sylvia Plath, and Scott Fitzgerald, William Butler Yeats, Ezra Pound, Ernest Hemingway, Virginia Woolf, D.H. Lawrence, and Gerald Stein. And the most important works of modernist literature are Faulkner's As I Lay Dying, Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness, T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland, D.H. Lawrence's Tickets Please, Ezra Pound's Inner Station of the Metro, Henry James' The Figure in the Carpet, and James Joyce's Ulysses, Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway, and Catherine Mansfield's The Garden Party. This is just an introduction to literary modernism. We will see about it in the future videos. If you have anything more to add on to this, please write it in the comment box, like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe. Thank you.